Hillary Clinton emerged from the testimony largely unscathed yesterday. So say the pundits. Joe Biden announced day before he wasn't running, and then two of her competitors have now bowed out of the race, not to mention poll after poll showing what support there would have been for Biden is now given to Hillary Clinton pretty much on a silver platter. Like today, there's a brand new Quinnipiac poll coming out of Iowa showing support for Hillary at 51%, up 11 points from the September poll. Bernie Sanders at 40%. Martin O'Malley still hanging in there with 4%. Let us bring in two senators who worked the floor way back when. Byron Dorgan is former Democratic senator and congressman from North Dakota. George LeMieux is former Republican senator from Florida. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. And it seems unseemly to even pair the seriousness of Benghazi with somebody's political career, but it is a fact right now as we come toward a presidential election. I will begin with Senator LeMieux. When you as a Republican watched yesterday, did you feel that she was getting hurt or just dinged?
I felt that she was getting dinged. Hillary Clinton is a very experienced testifier before Congress. In many ways, I thought it was like the varsity team against the JV squad. And those very important issues, she won the day yesterday. But over time, Benghazi's not going away. 4 of our Americans died in Benghazi. And there's a lot of unanswered questions like why Hillary Clinton went home, why the CIA couldn't deploy. Mitchell Zukof's book, 13 Hours, is a great portrayal of the tragedy that happened because we had special forces right there who could have potentially saved the ambassador and the 3 others that perished in Benghazi, and they never were allowed to. So there's a lot of questions still to be answered. She's got a lot of problems with this email issue. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has been ordered by a federal judge to find those emails that have been destroyed. If they talk about Benghazi or any other sensitive matter, she's in big trouble. So while she might have won the day yesterday, she's got a long road ahead of her.
Senator Dorgan, how does she proceed here? And again, she's back out there after 11 hours of testimony. And we watch these polls, and the polls certainly show that right now in the Democratic pool, she is definitely the leader. As she pairs up with perhaps Ben Carson, who has also taken a brand new lead in not 1 but 2 Iowa polls. That's an interesting matchup, is it not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, let me just say yesterday's 11 hours was good drama, but it's really not good government at all. And frankly, for those that really dislike Hillary Clinton, they will still dislike her and think she was a failure yesterday. For those that like her, they'll feel that she did a good job. You know, look, I'm a friend of hers. I support her. I think she was confident. She was well-informed. She was even-tempered for 11 hours. There have been 7 investigations. I know what George has said. There have been 7 investigations. There's nothing new here. So on to the presidential campaign. I think Hillary is going to be the Democratic nominee. I think if Ben Carson or Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, the Republican Party is going to have very difficult times. There are some good candidates over on the other side. We'll see if they can get to the nomination and secure the nomination. But I think it's a complex, difficult world. I think both Mr. Carson and Mr. Trump do not have the kind of experience that one would want as you walk into the Oval Office.
Well, Senator LeMieux, whoever the American people pick, we know that it's Ohio, Florida, Pennsylvania, the states that truly matter. You both as senators have watched these races come down to just a few states. What do you think eventually happens here? What matters to the American people in those states?
Well, the first 4 states are going to have a lot of influence on what happens: Nevada, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina.
Of course.
And then Florida, like you mentioned, Liz, is going to have a big role to play. And I think that the voters in those states take their role and their responsibilities very seriously of picking the next president of the United States, or at least the nominee of the party. And I believe that Donald Trump and Ben Carson will not be the nominee. I believe that it'll be one of the candidates that has some experience governing. I'm a Jeb Bush supporter.
Okay, let me interrupt you there then and tell you, I believe Jeb Bush is speaking right now in Alexandria. Actually, it's Virginia Beach, and he has announced, and I believe Trish Regan broke this news in the hour before us, that he would have to scale back at least some of his staff because perhaps he's trying to keep some financial powder dry here. So do you say he still holds on, Senator LeMieux?
Absolutely. I've spent some time with Governor Bush recently. He's getting better and better on the campaign trail. I think you're going to see him doing better and better in the polls as we get closer to the end of the year. And he's the only candidate who's really building operations on the ground in all of the relevant early states. So I would not discount Governor Bush. I think he still has a strong chance.
Well, and you endorsed him, so you put your money where your mouth is. Senator Dorgan, and then I'll ask you, Senator LeMieux. November 3rd is 11 days away. That's when we hit the debt ceiling. Doesn't seem to be getting a lot of attention at this point. Do we really have to get within spitting distance, 5-6 days of the government running out of money? Or perhaps some people believe it's simply posturing or, not really the truth coming out of the Treasury Department. Senator Dorgan, if you've ever faced something like this when you were in the Senate or the House?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always brinksmanship. But let me just go back to the other question. They're not going to ask me for advice on the other side, but I think Senator Rubio is someone who might well come out of the end of this towards the nomination. We'll see. But let me get back to the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling is a big deal. I mean, the potential threat of defaulting on America's payment on the debt would be unthinkable. There are some people in Congress that think this would be a good thing. They just don't know what they're talking about. And so my hope is that with Congressman Ryan assuming the speakership, I think that's going to happen now. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's smart. I think he's experienced. So we'll see. He should have a honeymoon. I suspect it'll be a brief honeymoon, given the Freedom Caucus over in the House. But I really hope that both sides can decide how they can go ahead on this debt ceiling, pass the legislation that is needed, and get rid of this brinksmanship. That hurts the American economy. It slows our growth. It injures people's confidence in the future. So let's get that done and then fix the other things we need to fix in this country. There are plenty of them, including things in fiscal policy.
Well, we miss both of you in the Senate. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.